Wow. All right. Hell yeah.
And we are back. Folks, we got a special guest today. You may know him from the Brandon and Jamel Show or his appearances on I Think You Should Leave and millions of other of some of the most popular TV shows in the world. One of the biggest comics on planet Earth right now.
Yeah,
you've seen him on the magazines. You know who we're talking about.
Yeah,
Brandon motherfucking Wardell is in the building, folks.
Whoa.
Thank you for coming on, Brandon.
Hey, great to be here. Thank you for having me on Pendejo Time. I feel like there's probably I don't know, some people listening to this might have called me gay on Twitter at some point. And now look. Sorry.
Sorry.
Now look who's winning.
Yeah, look who's actually a friend of the show now officially. Some guys would probably, some guys can only dream of being Cold Mike.
Yeah. Have you guys had how many guests have you had on Pendejo Time?
Maybe like 10.
Okay. Nah, more than that. Right? If it, probably somewhere around there.
Patrick Lunch, probably.
Patrick Lunch.
Him, Felix, Matt, Will.
Okay.
Have we had Will on?
Yeah, we had Will on.
Yes, we did.
Yes. We also
the Chapo guys, Patrick, a couple Twitter guys, couple comic friends. Yeah, about like 10. Not that many, really.
Yeah.
We're kind of bad about like asking people to come on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Asking is always the first step. You gotta just ask. I've just met.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I met Leon. Or not. Sorry. Fucking. Wait. What's your actual name?
Me?
No. Leno Killer.
Oh, Thomas.
Thomas.
Yeah.
Thomas. I blanked for a second.
No, you're good. I forget it too sometimes.
No, I have your name in my phone as Thomas Leno Killer.
No, that's good.
Do you have? Is your last name public?
Yeah, it's just White.
Okay. Is your address public?
Probably.
Yeah, at this point,
for all I know.
When we shipped out all the shirts, his address was on there. So, when we did our merch.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Most people don't know that, but now they do because Jake just said it. That's all right.
We can bleep it out.
Nah, it's fine.
No, I can. I was gonna ask you to edit out the part where I blanked on Thomas's name because I know Thomas's name. I just
it's okay.
I temporarily blanked. But
I forget my. It's all right. I have like 6 siblings, and 4 of them have March birthdays. And for the last, I guess, 6 days, I've been trying to remember whose birthday is when and who was born in March.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have 2 sisters where I'm like, all right, I know they're in March, and then everybody else I just don't tell happy birthday. I have siblings who I've never told happy birthday to just because it's way too late to ask. I'm almost 25.
You gotta just text them that every day.
Yeah, that's rough.
These days,
we had I was in our first guest. Do you know P88 Prospector?
yeah, funny.
Yeah, he was our first guest, and I knew what I was like. He's a very funny guy.
Right.
Shout out P88, a longtime listener of the show. He's also just kind of like. Some guys on Twitter are doing a character.
Sure.
Prospector is not, for the most part, I think. And so we like halfway through the episode, we cracked a joke. I was like, hey, there's not really any rules to coming on the show, just no hard R's or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then halfway through the episode, you hear him hit his keyboard 6 times, typing something, and he goes, hey, what word did I just type?
Okay.
And I was like, Frogger. He was like, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you, brother. Yeah, he was awesome.
Yeah, my favorite guest episode we've done was one time Jake couldn't record, and Matt Christman agreed to come on, and he turns on his camera and he doesn't have a microphone. And he just has like gas station earbuds.
Yep.
And then I'm like, all right, you know what? He probably just moved or something. And then he's drinking out of a chalice the whole time.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's drinking out of a chalice, and his audio was so bad that I had to like try and put like effects on it to make it sound better. And I just gave up, and I put like a robot sound effect on the whole episode for him. So there's like 20 minutes of it that are like super horrible audio, and it's just him explaining the whole Ukraine situation to me, but it's in like a distant robotic voice.
That's gotta be insulting, considering that he has the equipment.
Yeah, he's
you know
a
that he's a
millionaire.
podcast.
Yeah,
I'm
like
millionaire
you think
from
of,
podcast.
Yeah,
Yes.
That's crazy disrespectful.
Having met the guy and hung out with him, he's super awesome. I think it's just
I love him.
He's he's like, there's an air about him, like a kind of an eccentric regal or regalit, like just like he's like an old painter from like the Renaissance era. Like he just hangs out and drinks like raw ether, smokes a really long pipe, like just he knows like. He'll like know a guy from nobility, and then he'll know a painter, and then like he'll know an assassin, and he'll know a wizard.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of chock full of information.
I
was really
the Christ man himself.
Yeah, he was like a Da Vinci Code style podcaster. I remember when Thomas dropped that episode, and I was for context, I was like organizing stuff for my dad's funeral, and I remember I was like, Tom, like, he's having Matt on. That's going to be awesome. And I, like, turned it on in my car. I was driving to go get some stuff for the funeral. And I heard, like, Thomas, like, hey. And then I just hear, and I was like, what? And then Thomas was like, Matt Christman, everybody, Chapo Trap House. And then you just hear, like, and I was like, what happened since I've been gone? I've been gone a week.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
So it's just
what is
one-on-one?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just me and him, and you couldn't hear him, Zeus.
Yeah.
It was just like, and I put it as a premium episode, so a bunch of Chapo fans subscribed to the show to hear it, and then they couldn't even hear Matt.
Yeah, I had people. Somebody like reached.
It's just some dumb kid like just talking to himself. Basically.
I hope you have it. I hope you have the settings where it's like up front, right? Where
Yes.
it's like, okay,
yeah.
So like you got the Chapo guys' money. You got
yeah.
and then they just couldn't hear their lord.
Yeah,
we fleeced
got
a bunch
the free $80 out of it, and then they all immediately unsubscribed. But I appreciated the
dude. It's always
it out.
funny to check. Like whenever we've done anything affiliated with Chapo, like we did a few live shows with them. It's always fun to see the comments. How Patreon has the thing where like exit surveys, people, like they'll say why they left, and like 98% of the time it's like love you guys, like hella broke, or like trying to cut back on some expenses. I'll be back when I get my cheddar up. Those types of things. Every time we've done something Chapo related, we'll get like people will like sub to listen to us, and then a month later I'll get like 3 surveys that are like, I was not aware of the content of this show. I expected something much different than this. These guys are, blah, 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 blah. It's always like centered around like, I guess they thought we were like Texas politics guys.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
like,
They thought it was like a leftist.
I'm the Dallas Leninist.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's not that. It's mostly like schizophrenia.
They thought it was gonna be like cowboy hat Marxism.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Well, I do declare. I've been reading me State and Revolution. No, it's mostly just Thomas and I getting like schizotypal episodes for like an hour and a half or whatever.
Yeah, we're just like, would you pay $100 for a spaghetti that would fuck you also? stuff like that.
Yeah. Having it's funny to like people in my family and Thomas's family too are like pretty profoundly religious, and when we started the show, it was like, oh, you got a little podcast that's fun, like something like a little hobby. And like as the show gets more successful, which is always good, people then start to like, people like my mom will take it like she's like it's a serious thing. Like we do live shows, like we've been to Chicago and things, and she's like, when are you gonna let me listen? And then I'm like, Mom, please, like don't ever. I don't know if your parents like listen to your show.
Oh no.
But like no, I've begged my mom because I've just been on here like talking about shoving like fucking like fire pokers in my ass and getting my dick gobbled on by like a little elf. Yeah. You know, like we've done characters on this show that are sexual pedophiles.
Right.
and that's, as comics, we aren't allowed to be comics anymore because of cancel culture.
Because of woke.
When I go on stage and I say, my girlfriend's 10, what's the deal with 10-year-olds nowadays? Yeah. And people say, get out of here,
Right. The
and you have to stand your ground.
Mind virus.
Yeah.
That's one of the symptoms is they don't want you to have a girlfriend that's 10.
Yeah, they don't want to hear the truth anymore.
There is a nice crossover between guys who use the term woke mind virus in earnest and then like the type of libertarian that is really just obsessed with like age of consent laws. Like there's like an intersection of those two guys that are like, yeah, you can't say the N-word anymore in the Bronx without somebody getting mad. And then guys who are also like, in Maryland, you can still marry a 13-year-old. And they're probably the most Christian state or whatever the fuck. The most religiously pure.
I think it should be higher, honestly. Like
50.
Yeah.
Yeah, no fucking until you're like your shit's all used up anyway,
It should be higher for girls.
What do you mean?
Honestly, the age of consent should be highest for black women. Don't you think, Jake?
Yeah, unpack that. Could you unpack that a little bit?
To protect them.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
To protect their sexual magic.
To protect their sexual power.
Yeah, okay, gotcha.
I've been talking to Jake a lot about like black women taking back their sexual power lately. How do you feel about that, Brandon?
How do I feel about it?
Yeah.
Yeah, thumbs up.
Yeah.
Thumbs up over here.
Thumbs up for the sexual power of the black woman.
Honestly, like brings me to tears sometimes, like just thinking about it, like in my bed, like just thinking about it, like for a while.
Just the raw sexual tension between.
When I think about when I see like a women of color at the store, I want to cry sometimes. You know what I mean? Because I can just feel power seeping out of her. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you go up and you ask them like, can I touch your hair? Can I get some of your power? Can I smell you?
You smell so good. Is that patchouli oil?
Is that cocoa butter? Is that shea oil?
Girl, you are killing it working here at Trader Joe's.
Yes. Yeah, I love to run into a black woman at the Fort Worth Trader Joe's.
They've got a couple now, and there's nothing wrong with that. Last year I interviewed at Trader Joe's and I didn't get the position, and it made me think a lot about where I'm heading in life. I don't know about you guys.
This was last year.
Yeah, less than a calendar year ago. But they said it was because of my schedule, because I said I didn't want to work that much.
Yeah. I remember.
I said I'd like to have Friday through Sunday off so I can chill. And they were like, "When do you think people get groceries?"
I remember you guys know Firehouse Subs, yeah?
Of course.
Which has they have a bunch of framed photos of fucking buildings on fire.
Yeah.
They have I tried to work there during community college. And it was my first time filling out a job application, and you had to, how you have to give them your social security number.
Yeah.
I didn't fill that out because I was like, why does Firehouse Subs need that? Like I don't why the fuck do you need my
Why do you need
social
my
security
secret
number,
code?
Firehouse
Yeah.
subs. And so that I didn't hear back from them, but I think that's why.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I remember when I was like, nobody in my family like went to college. My mom didn't finish high school, and my dad, it took him like 5.5 years to graduate. And so when I was applying, I didn't have anybody to like. They were like, you have to write your like entrance essays, like why you want to go to the school, and I didn't have anybody to consult, and so I went to Google and I was like, oh, what's in like an application essay, and it's like, oh, talk about your extracurriculars, talk about like if you're first generation, like your struggle, you know what I mean, like and so I didn't have any extracurriculars. I spent most of high school like eating street press Xanax and like trying to do kick flips. I didn't really and so every college essay, dude, I applied to so many schools and only got accepted to like 2. But it was like 500-word essay. I didn't have any extracurriculars. I didn't have any hobbies. So I just wrote about everything wrong that ever happened to me in my life. Like I was like, my dad's a crackhead. My mom had me when she was 16 years old. We lived in a trailer park. Like we were really poor. Things we got up to like middle class, but then my parents gambled away all the money, and so now
that's a struggle. But I guess they don't. But it's not like appealing.
No, it's
not
also like there
to
was
a college. Basically, you just went in like I'm God's #1 victim.
Yes.
You're just like, hey, you guys, you know about targeted individuals? That's me.
Yeah.
That's me.
I'm getting gang stalked by God to be like a bad person. Yeah, and so like I would write these things, and like you're supposed to at the end, and I didn't know this until I'd already written like 6 of them and submitted, but like you're supposed to be like, and like I feel that going to University of Texas or U of H or fucking wherever would like put me like I would be the first generation person in my family to go to college. I didn't know that halfway through, so I was just writing 500 words with no conclusion about I'm bettering my life. Like, my dad was in and out of my life, and everybody's got drug problems, and all my family members have bipolar disorder, and I think I have it too. And I started drinking when I was 9, and then no happy ending. I would be like, all this stuff is real and happened to me, and it keeps happening, and nothing's getting better. Sincerely yours, Jake. And then I would like send them off, and then like a week later get a rejection letter. Like
you said, you got accepted to who accepted you?
The school I went to, which was St. Edward's in Austin, Texas, and then like a couple schools. Like, do you know that really rip-offy film school in Florida called Full Sail University? It's like it's like
is it like a for-profit?
Basically, it's like NYU, but for people who live in Florida. If you can just contextualize what that would, yeah. They accepted.
They only teach jits.
Yeah, yeah. Well, like they like have a movie set on campus, and it's like if you're not smart enough or good enough at writing to get into NYU, and if you don't have money, you go to Full Sail or whatever.
Okay.
And I applied there and got in there, and then I got into like a couple like shitty rinky-dink like state schools. But dude, like the schools I wanted to go to, like UT, U of H, fuck no, they didn't want anything to do with me. Because also my GPA was in the shitter. I think I graduated like bottom 20% of my class.
Yeah,
like I just, I was just, whatever.
Yeah, I was a 2.9 man.
Yeah. I think mine was.
Yeah, I was like Northern Virginia Community College, and then VCU, and it dropped out of VCU. And if you look at the VCU alumni Wikipedia, you're gonna find me. You're gonna find Moot, the creator of 4chan. also dropped out of VCU.
That's so sick.
I keep that thing on me. No big deal.
Oh baby.
Yes,
yeah.
Wait,
Tarrant County.
There it is.
Tarrant County College. Yeah, I went there for 3 semesters.
Hell yeah.
And in those 3 semesters, I got like 10 credits. So. And that's not even the only. I don't mean to brag. I don't mean to flex. But I've taken probably 11 semesters of community college. And I'm already a sophomore technically. So.
Yeah, no, I did 2 years of community college, but no associates. Like I transferred no associates, so I have nothing. I have nothing.
Dude, I was trying to get a computer science degree like 6 months ago. I have no idea why. I was like, dude, I'm just gonna become smart by looking at shit.
Yeah.
It did not happen whatsoever. I got to my like second class and I was like, anybody know how to like export a PDF?
Can you guys turn my
like
monitor
that?
on for me? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like it was funny to like I wanted when I was a kid to like be an actor or like a screenwriter or something.
Mm-hmm.
And so I remember talking to my mom who like I think at the time was like I was 16, 17, so she was like 31, 32. And so she was like, "Hey, look." I was like, "Mom, I'm going to be an actor. I'm going to move to New York. And I'm going to live in New York and I'm going to like do the New York thing, or I'm going to go to this Full Sail place. I'm going to live in Miami and I'm going to do Miami Vice stuff. I'm going to write fucking scripts about sexy CIA fucking."
Did you want to be like a dramatic actor?
I wanted to be like a Renaissance man. I wanted to do it all, baby.
Yeah.
I wanted to be like a comedic actor and you know, like I wanted to be like I don't know, a McConaughey maybe. You know, anyway.
Okay.
And my mom was like, she just leveled with me, like straight. She was like, "Hey, look, I didn't even finish high school, so the fact that you want to go to college is great. But do you want to go into a bunch of debt to learn how to write about movies?" And I was like, "Oh, like it's not real. Like student loans are like." She's like, "Look, I don't have them, but it's a lot of money. You should just go act if you want to do that." And then I like got to school and I met the entire theater and acting program. I ended up studying political science, which is a major moneymaker. You know what I mean? Yeah. Dude, I'm so glad I dodged that bullet. People who want to be actors, you're familiar with this, I know. For like people who want it more than anything, like it would be cool to do.
Rough. It's rough.
Yeah,
I started acting on accident, honestly. Like I was always just like a stand-up, and I like whatever. Like eventually started acting in things, but when somebody is, their whole thing is, I am an actor.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
It's a rough pursuit, you know? It's like just a rough kind of person, for sure.
Yeah, I always felt like, because I did a lot of theater, and I did a couple like short movies, and then Thomas and I, we do these sketches, and like we'll like write the scripts, and then, you know, we acted in one, and it's fun. I've always felt that just about anyone can be okay at it. The people who are really good at it are just profoundly mentally sick. You know what I mean? But if you say that to somebody who studies it and like the person you're talking about, the actor, they get so mad. I used to get in arguments with people that I would like do. I did like a theater. I did like my school's like theater program. They did this a play called God of Carnage, like as a popular movie, and I played the like not the bad guy, but just like a dickhead. And I was talking to some of the kids who were there. I wasn't studying acting. I just did it to have fun. And I was like rambling. I was like, anyone can do this shit. If you can have a conversation like we're having now.
Well, yeah. I think like the people that are really fucking good at it, like the people that are like savants at acting.
Yeah,
right?
they're just
either I think it's either just like a cold-blooded sociopath or just like an absolute fucking like, you know, like fucking like golden retriever kind of empty vessel.
Yes.
Soup for brains kind of, you know, regard.
I've always felt that, that everybody I've known that was really good at it was a complete mental and emotional train wreck and a bad person. The people that I like acted with that were like, okay, they were normal people. So that's what I mean. Like anybody can, if you want to be like a really good one, I realized like the more that I did like the theater productions and like a short movie here and there when I was like in high school and college, dude, just the worst, most self-obsessed psycho sociopath. Just like, you know, also they cry. Mm-hmm. Like we threw the theater program at my college rented our house out to throw their cast party for their big show at the end of the year. By midnight, they were all in a massage train. Oh, I don't know if anybody ever. We were talking to Patches from Podcast About Liz about this, but like
this is similar to a cuddle puddle.
Yes, they were like in a snake and they were rubbing each other's shoulders. And I've heard people talk about this, and I experienced it when I did fucking theater. And they would all start crying and talking in British accents. And I just wanted to do cocaine in my house.
Yeah.
And drink 40s. Like, I wanted to party. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
and they're like, "Hello, Jake. How are you this evening?
Man.
I love your home. You've made it such a wonderful place for us. Tonight will be a night of dancing, dreaming, and revelry. What say you?" And I was like, "I bought an 8-ball, and I'm going to go in the garage and do that alone. And if you come in there, I'm going to beat the piss out of you." Like, you want to come in there and talk to me like my buddy Mike, who's a good actor and a pretty good singer that I know. You can be Mike. If you come in there like the Libertine, I'm going to kick you in the nuts.
Yeah,
like,
that's pretty rough. I mean, I would when I first moved to LA, I lived in like this is like my first year living here. I was living in a place where I was paying $460 a month for rent.
Damn.
And it's like, well, it was a shithole. So it was
okay.
It's a place with like there's 4 rooms, right? It's like me.
I see what you mean.
It was me. I was 21. This other guy who's 21. This girl who's our age, and then this guy who was like 35.
Yeah,
and he was an improv coach, right?
Beautiful.
And he would have, and this is like to illustrate what this house was. It was like the kind of place where it was like it's all carpeted and like nasty, like bad carpet.
Ladies and gentlemen, you know what time of the show it is. We're back. Look, we know how hard it is to get your dang food in, especially when you're trying to get fit or just eat healthy. When you're way too busy to cook, don't resort to some greasy 3-for-3 deal. You know I hate 3-for-3, Thomas. I'm more of a healthy food guy. And Factor meals, they make it easy to stick to your health goals and eat incredible food with their chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals that are ready in only, 2 minutes. That's
2
quick.
minutes. Wow.
Yeah. You can get your protein in before you hit the gym. You can just heat them up in the microwave or skillet, and guess what? You're good to go, dude. You don't got to do anything else. You don't got to cut. You don't got to prep. Nothing.
Yes. And you just heat them up in the microwave or skillet, and you're good to go. And, Jake, my favorite meal, I like the chorizo chili, and I love their juices as well.
Yeah,
I love their the juicy booster. I love the energy boost I get from their juices.
I remember you telling me that the apple it's apple juice and cayenne. It was like a good.
Yes, I really enjoyed that, and I also enjoyed their jalapeno popper burger. It's sort of a deconstructed burger, sort of in a delicious moat of cauliflower rice.
That is, you sent me a picture of it, dude. It looks super good. You got I remember you got the big swag bag, which was sick. Super jealous because I really
enjoyed the food.
Yeah, it looked good. And I'll probably, you know what, I might email and be like, yeah. Anyway, Factor is less expensive than takeout, you guys. If you're trying to save money and eat healthy, it can be difficult to do. Because grocery shopping prices are skyrocketing, but not over here. The wonderful people at Factor Meals. Every meal is actually good for you. It's not some BS. Much unlike those trips to the drive-thru that'll make you feel like trash an hour later. They have all different types of meals: breakfast, midday snacks. Thomas told you all about the juices. They also got desserts. If you got a sweet tooth and you're trying to eat healthy, you can do that with Factor Meals. So what you're going to want to do is head to factormeals.com/pendejo50. That is factormeals.com/pendejo50, PENDEJO50, and use code pendejo50 to get 50% off. One more time, that's code pendejo50 at factormeals.com/pendejo50 to get 50% off. You do that, you support the show, and get 50% off at Factor here's the website, www.factormeals.com/pendejo50, and use that code one more time, Pendejo50. Thank you, guys.
And there's not a couch in the living room, but there's a couch on the porch, right?
Yep, I lived in plenty of those places.
So yeah, you guys know all about this. So improv coach roommate, there'd be nights where I would come home trashed, just in a place where I just want to like rest my weary head, and I like open the living room door to just a bunch of adults playing. Like it's rough.
Yes.
It's like it's a very harsh blow to like come home to that.
Yeah.
To just like a bunch of like, you know, losers.
Yeah,
Like,
it would be better if they were shooting up.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
At least there's like pathos there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like a heroin addict is cool for a while.
Right.
You know what I mean?
No, I was in an improv den.
Yes.
Yeah.
People, they're coming. You come in there and they're like, "Dude, I keep yes-anding, and I just keep yes-anding, and I just can't stop." Dude, I remember there was a comedy club in Austin called the New Movement, and they changed its name. It's called Fallout now, and I did open mics there all the fucking time when I was like 18 or 19, and
Yeah.
I was the open mic, which I feel like this is fine if you're like 18, 19, like just starting out, but I was the guy that like would go to open mics and do a bunch of blow and then be like, I'm Sam Kinison or I'm Bill Hicks. Like this is,
wow.
you know what I mean? Like I'm not full of myself, but like I'm a comedian's comedian.
In your defense, that's about 90% of open micers at any age, unfortunately.
Right. Yeah. Well, I was just about to say like the thing that was so, to your point, Brandon, or to the guy, like the coach, like I felt like, and I've talked to the show about this like with Thomas before, like I felt like I got away with that because at that age it's like, oh, you're 19, you're in a new city, you're trying to do stand up, which is fucking stupid. And, you know, you're like fucking around in college, you're not doing all that great, and you want to be a comedian, and so you're doing a bunch of drugs and you're like living this like romantic vagabond, like bohemian, like shithead. You're a dirtbag, and you're like, and I was like living in that. I like reveled in it, and then I would meet guys that were like 38 that were like that.
Yeah.
That were like, hey, listen, man, look, you got some. Like I would get coked up, and I would end up at these guys' houses in their kitchen, standing there, and I would want to go home so bad. And these guys would like corner me. The one guy I'm thinking of in particular would like stand in front of me, and he's like, listen to me. I started doing fucking stand up when I was 30. Now I'm 39. You got something that I didn't fucking have. You got time, my brother. You got time. And that's the one fucking thing that everybody wants to take from you is your time. And I was like, he's spitting on my face.
You're like, I'd rather you just fucking molest me.
I'd rather you rape me. Yeah. And like I like over time, I looked up to those guys at first because they would get free chicken strips. They'd get to do 30 minutes at like Mike's Chuck and Suck. You know what I mean? Like they were the fucking big dogs. And then as I got older, I was like, oh no, these guys that's the improv coach. That's the guy that's like, he's like his family wants him to go to prison because it's better than like living with like 6 22-year-olds and then like, you know, I'm not saying you should never pursue your dreams. I am saying
of course,
don't.
But to a point. I mean, it is like to a point, and like I started doing stand up when I was 17.
Yeah, I was about 18.
And like at open mics in DC, and that was prior to doing that. I was like pretty sheltered, and that was like my first time around like alcoholic like adults who were like, you know, like I remember like I hadn't there was like a girl that I had a crush on, and I was telling some comic about it, and then this guy he went by Keith the Comedian. He like that comes over and he's like, listen, man, here's what you got to do. You got to when you eat pussy, you got to do the alphabet with your tongue, man. And he's getting up close, telling me things like that. I had like barely kissed a girl at that point.
Yeah.
And Keith the Comedian is like, you gotta do the alphabet with your tongue.
You gotta put your finger in a bowl.
Yeah.
Spit in it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like it's weird. It was like that was like my first time being like unsupervised and like in there's
big
like
city.
a lot of and there's a lot of these guys that at open mics are they don't make it out. Most of them don't make it out.
Well, I think like because Austin's become since like Rogan and Tom Segura moved here, and like there's like 3 new clubs opening every year. There's like 15 comedy clubs here now. I was trying to do an open mic down on 6th Street, and in front of Rogan's.
What year did you start?
I started in 2012. I was 18, and
so you've
Austin
seen the Austin shift.
Yeah, I moved there in 2012.
Okay.
And I did it for like 2 years and then stopped and then like picked it up again pretty recently. But anyway, I see guys in front of that club, dude, and they're on Instagram Live, and they're not even there to do the mic. There's like 40 of them, and they're like, "Yo, it's Big Tony." Big Tony, Austin the comedian. By the way, you said Keith the comedian. There's so many blank the comedians in the world.
Where that's their that would be their last name on Facebook.
Yes. Yes.
Is the comedian. I know. Look at it like, wow, the duck comedian lineage goes
healthy
so far. Wow,
bloodline's powerful.
Big family tree.
Yeah. The second open mic I ever went to, I had to go after a guy named Scarecrow, the comedian.
Fuck yeah!
And it was a 5-minute mic, and he did 15 minutes just because he was so scary looking that the host was like, "I'm not gonna fucking tell him to stop." He was legitimately one of the most terrifying looking guys I've ever seen. He was like 6'5", 300, and he just had like. I don't know. He was like a black guy, but he had like yellow eyes somehow. I don't know.
Jaundice.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what was going on, but he was very funny.
He was like a Fox News anchor's idea of every black gentleman. You know, like the stereotype.
He was so funny too. He was killing. And then I had to go up after him and be like, "So, have you guys ever been to Buc-ee's?"
Yeah.
There's some things about that I've noticed were funny. You know. Stupid.
Yeah. It's, oh no, go ahead.
Yeah. I was just there was a guy in Austin that I think moved. I never caught him, but like I heard rumors about him while I was in the city, and I never saw him. But my buddy was telling me when I first moved in here, I moved to Austin. I met a guy, JT Kelly. I don't know. He's toured a bunch and big comedian here in Austin. But anyway, there was a guy in Austin, dude, that was like deeply, profoundly autistic. Like, and he would wear a black skin tight black jeans, black leather biker like with the zips and the studs jacket, black combat boots. Would go on stage and do Bill Burr bits. He'd just go up there
verbatim.
Yes, yeah. Like the guy that was telling me about this would say like he would watch a Burr set and then go catch this guy, and it wasn't paraphrasing. It was like he was a savant, but for like comedians material. And people who didn't know, like he would do like old Burr stuff, and people who did, he would crush because not everybody was familiar with Burr at the time. This was like 12 years ago. It was before I moved to Austin, or like right when I moved. So my buddy was telling me like he would go up and do like a 5-minute mic, dude, and would just kill because Bill Burr's funny, and he would get his delivery down. He had like all of his tics, like he had it. These things. When your wife tells you that you want to watch the game, right? And she's barking, like that whole thing. Dude, he would get to the point like where he would be doing showcases. Like, he's going up and doing 15 minutes.
At like funniest person in Austin, Cap City.
I don't know if he ever did FPIA, but he may have. I don't know. But I know that the guy that was telling me about this was like, it would get to a point where somebody would go, dude, he's doing Burr. And people would be like, oh, yeah, that's his thing. Like, he's not all there. And the guy would be like, what? No, like, he's fine. Like, look at him. He's crushing. But if you talk to him, again, never met the guy. Apparently, if you talk to him, like, outside of that, it's like Bill Burr's ghost would exit his body, and he would just be full-blown nonverbal. He would be like, hey,
crazy.
Hi, I gotta go. Thank you for coming to my show. And then like next week he's like, I had a beer the other day. I had a beer. It was so cold. It was so cold. Like just crushing it. And I thought to myself, like, what if you were a guy who just did in the same way people do like cover bands? Like, what if you were just a cover comedian? It's not stealing.
Oh yeah.
If you're like, I'm gonna do Bill. I'm gonna do an hour of Bill Burr or whatever the fuck.
That was one of the first things one of my first ever bits, like ever, was I think this is circa like, I feel like I came up right after like Menstelia, right after like Rogan confronts Carlos Mencia at the comedy store.
Yeah.
And I did some bit about like, oh, he's just cover comedian.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
that's funny.
Oh,
Yeah, because
yeah.
It's not stealing if you're just like, yeah. I mean, I guess I brought it up because like that type of stuff now, like everybody, this city. There was a guy, I was telling Thomas about this. I was standing in front of the Mothership open mic, or Joe Rogan's club, trying to do a mic there in the next door. And there was a guy who had a Honda Odyssey, and he was clearly living out of it. And it had been parked. I was next door drinking some beer, and one of the guys had told me that this guy has had his car parked in front of the club for like a little while, and he'll only move it when the police tell him to move it on the weekends when they close the 6th Street down in Austin. I don't know if you've ever been to Austin, if you're familiar with the area.
I've been to Austin a lot.
Okay, yeah.
I've been to.
So they're like, oh, this guy lives in his van, and all he does is he goes live on Instagram 9 hours a day, and he's like a Hotep comedian.
Okay.
And I was walking by, and I was
he's
like,
a white Hotep.
He was very, very much a black gentleman.
Okay, cool.
And he was like, I walk past him, and I catch what he's talking about. He's like, everybody, we're live. We've got. Let's see. Well, we're watching the number go up. We got 11 viewers. Let's see if we can crack 50 today, because we're going big time. I'm up here in front of the Rogan. I didn't get up on the list today, but hey, baby, every Monday we're out here and we're grinding. Now we're gonna talk about the magical words, and I'm like, okay, I gotta listen to this. and he's like, and he's talking loud, dude. And he's like,
so you're just like standing outside of his car?
Yeah, outside of his house situation.
Yes, right.
And he's standing next to these two white guys, and he's like, you know what word has the power to change, has the power to establish brotherhood and to shed blood. And he pauses for a second, and he's like, and then just hard R's. He just say, he's like, and then he's like, cause check this shit out. I can say it to my friend. I can say, what's up, my, Now, if these two pasty ass motherfuckers say it, now we're on demon time. Now we're talking about blood. And he pans the camera over to these two, I guess, comedians that were standing there smoking, and he's like, do y'all agree? Because if I call you, and you call me one, I can call you and you my friend. White boys love being somebody's N-word. You know what I mean? But if you call me that, then I'm going to break your jaw. I'm watching these two guys like just very nervously like, yeah, whatever, man. Like,
yes.
I don't say it. I don't say it. And he's like, why not? See, that's what I'm talking about, the word of power. Because it has so much power that you think you can't say it. You can. But words with power have consequences. Like, he would just get weirdly ominous with these two dudes.
Yeah.
And then at one point, like, I guess he saw me standing, like, I was trying to check the list, see if they put the list out. And he's like coming over to me, and he's like, this is how we build bonds in the community, in the comedy community. Because we're out here, we're all we got. This is a brotherhood. Right, man? And he, like, goes to put his arm on my shoulder, and I just kind of, like, Floyd Mayweather, like, shoulder roll, like, just dip, and I'm like, I'm good.
Yeah.
Like, I'm good. I don't want nothing to do with this. And he's like, yeah, some people, like, it's not that tight for them. But the power of community, the power of the word. And I was like, this guy's clearly, he's been talking for 20 minutes about how the N-word is like a spell.
Did you ever get his handle?
No, I did not. I didn't want to be around him too long. It seemed like he was on the edge. He was on the edge of something bad.
I'm very fascinated by just sort of the trickle down of the trickle down happening in Austin.
Yes. Yeah.
Right, where it's like there's the guys that are successful, it makes sense. It makes sense for them to go there, right?
Yes.
But then there are these guys that like aspire to one day get a minute on Kill Tony, which I guess, you know, for some people has
big. It's big.
made their star, right?
Yes, it has. Yeah.
But there's like a lot of and I like a lot of the guys. I like Casey Rocket a lot. Like that's
he's
like
hilarious.
a guy who I think is so fucking funny. But there's like these guys that are super delusional.
Yes.
That followed the
Joe
people
Rogan.
that followed Rogan, right? But it's like they're so far. They're
gone.
10 times removed, and they're also like fucked up all the time.
Yes.
And very mentally unwell. Like I remember doing like just meeting guys that the last time I was in Austin, I did a weekend at the Creek, and I got there like a day early, and I had done a set on that like Red Band secret show.
Yeah,
or
the
whatever.
Vulcan. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And I met there's like a lot of like weird like hangers on that they're not on the show, and you quickly realize like, oh, they're not really, they're like, they do open mics maybe, but they're just like kind of around, and they're like, hey, do you want to do dabs? Or do you want to do dabs before your set? And I'm like, I don't, who the fuck?
Yes. Yeah.
And but it's like, it's usually it's like, maybe you meet one of those guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
But this was the night where I was like, there's a bunch of these guys.
Yes.
And they're all like encouraging
They're
each other.
multiplying.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. Like it's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, like, I don't want to make it seem like I'm Thomas and I've been doing a lot of like more stand up, and like I've been having like, you know, getting like doing cooler shows, and but like I still do mics. I don't want to make it seem like I'm obviously not like a big comedian at all. Like no. But the one thing I have noticed is the exact thing you're talking about of like, I've talked with people who earnestly, like, I try to make small talk, like, you know, when you're in the smoking section of the mic, like outside the bar, and you're waiting for to go up to work on something new, or, you know, maybe you got like a 10-minute spot and you're just hanging out, and like right after the showcase you're on, there's a mic. And I remember specifically one guy I was talking to who was like, looked like he's like in his early 40s, mid 40s. He could have been 20. Who knows with these guys, you know? Mm-hmm. And he was like, I've tried to sign up for Kill Tony, like I think about 50 times, and I know that once I get on Kill Tony, that, you know, it's all up from there. Really, my goal is to get, like, I want to be on Rogan's show. And I was like, oh, like you want to be on like his, like, I thought he was talking about like, because the mothership, like their showcases, like that really does skyrocket guys' like careers.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
And if you can get like past the mic, like guys, you know, they start opening for Segura, and then it's all up from there, you know. And he was like, no, I want to be on the podcast because I got ideas, man. And I was like, oh, I have two choices. I can get up and go away from this man, or I can let him enlighten me. And I chose the latter. And he was just like, I'm a conspiracy theory guy, but it's mostly like the CIA is everything everywhere. I like when I give a guy a little bit of rope, and it ends up with him being like, yeah, man, the CIA. Dude, you know about the Jews?
I always, whenever I meet guys like that, I don't know. I think that I am inviting.
Yeah.
In terms of like, I think I'm too approachable.
Yes.
And if I meet like a true like delusional fucking like wacko kind of guy like that, I will always engage.
Yes.
I will almost always let them cook at length, because I am always like, well, that's always I prefer that to I prefer talking to like true like fucking like psycho like
schizo guy.
weirdo schizo micer versus talking to like just like sort of a serviceable, like decent feature.
Yes.
Who's like talking about like how joke writing is like math.
Oh my god!
You know, I'm like, no, let me talk to the fucking. Let me talk to that guy.
The guy that's 2 seconds away from jacking off in public. Let me talk to
Yes.
that guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like just seeing how much I can egg them on without agreeing with anything.
Yeah.
Like they'll be like, and now when you look at what they've done with the trifecta with toothpaste, nowadays you can't even spit it out in the sink, and I'll just be like, that's what's up. And that you just a single "that's what's up" gives them another like 7 minutes of leeway, which
Honestly,
is incredible.
Honestly,
I've never had a single other type of conversation where I just go, yeah, and they go for another 10 minutes unprovoked.
I need to like when I'm in Austin next, like we should link and go out and like
100%
talk to these folks, because I do think that that is something that I like when I was visiting Austin this most recent time. This is like my first time visiting Austin after the shift, right? I've been there a lot between, like I went there the first time like 2012 and then went a lot between 2016 2019, right? But this is my first time going to like new Austin. And there was something kind of refreshing, right, about talking to guys like that, because I do think that in like New York and LA, you know, if you're just doing like shows at the clubs and or like the like alt shows, whatever, you're sort of like in a little bit of a bubble.
Yes.
Where you're like kind of protected, and there's, you know, but you go out there and you're on the roof of Vulcan, and there's like just like 20 guys, 20 let's do dabs guys.
Yeah.
Yapping away. There is something kind of nice about like the raw humanity of it all. Like I am like, oh, this is real. This is real.
I remember one time one of those guys got really fucking mad at me. This was, when like Milo Yiannopoulos and like Ben Shapiro and Peterson first hit the scene like 2015, and like the gender thing was like really like fresh, and the joke that they all had that they only recently stopped using, but it was just their standard issue M4 carbine joke, like, what if I want to be an attack helicopter?
Of course.
You know, that thing, like, what if I want to be, I identify as an attack helicopter. What say you, sire?
Yeah.
And then they're that community of guys, and if they were around each other, they'd be like, dude, so good, man, because like they want to be a woman, dude, but they're not. And if you wanted to be a fucking vacuum, dude, it's the same thing. And they'd all laugh and suck each other's penises and come on each other. I was at a mic in North Austin. It was at North Central. It was this place called Mr. Tramps, and they would do a 10-minute open mic, dude. Can you believe it? 10 minutes. And I was trying to tighten up like just my 10 so I could like.
And how many people are on this?
Dude, that night like 20.
Yeah.
It was like a 2.5 hour
Jesus
open
Christ.
mic.
Yeah.
And we're all out there in the back behind the bar.
Longer than most movies.
Well, dude, all the mics here now, because of how big everything is, like you'll get like 2 minute. I'll divert from the thing, but like you'll get like a 2 or 3 minute mic. There'll be 50 comedians, and they'll last almost 2 hours. That's like your standard. That's like your kind of standard mic here, basically. But anyway, we were back there, and like everybody's like taking key bumps and drinking beer and doing dabs and blah 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 blah. And we get on the subject of like, one guy was like, dude, Austin's always been kind of fucking fruity, but now, dude, everywhere I feel like I go, I see fucking like, just fucking homos and like the tranny thing, right? Everybody wants to be a fucking girl now. He's like older guy. And I was like, all right, same thing you said. I was like, I'm gonna see this through. I want to see where this guy's going with this. Yeah. And he was like, oh, I gotta call you she, her. Yeah, get fucked, buddy. What if I identify as an attack helicopter? You gotta call me.
Oh, he said it.
Yes, He's like, you got to call me helicopter. Those are my pronouns, and like
Oh,
just crushes in this little circle that I like found myself in, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I want to fuck with this guy. I want to push back a little bit. So I was like, oh, that would be fine. Like that's kind of the whole point of it, right? Is like your gender is like for you to decide. It's not for, like your sex might be determined by like biology, but your gender is for you to decide. So if you wanted to be like a helicopter man, like it would be no problem for me to call you John Helicopter,
Mm-hmm.
And he immediately was like, excuse me? And I was like, oh, sorry, like I just thought we were talking, right? Like, if somebody transitions, like it's no skin off my ass. Like I mess up. I might call him, and if they're my friend, I'll apologize. And if you want to be a helicopter dude, like hell yeah, like dude, when are you gonna start? You gonna get your blades installed? Like I thought we were just roasting each other, and like his friends were like, we were like giggling and like laughing, and he was like, dude, you better fucking watch your tone.
Oh fuck. Lord.
And I was like, I wasn't like trying to like, this isn't like one of those like, and he stand up in the back of the bus and clap stories.
Right, yeah.
I was
but
like,
he was. Did you feel like you were under physical threat? Like he was.
Yes.
He was like, I've got half a mind to slug this guy.
Yeah, no, I wasn't. Again, I wasn't trying to like own the dude. I just was like, I thought we were all riffing. Like I wasn't like I'm owning a fucking fascist. I just thought we were all having, because it's a comedy club, right? Like we're all doing drugs. Like,
of course.
Anyway, and he was like, dude, seriously, it's like you think that shit's okay? And I was like, dude, I literally don't care. We're just joking, right? Like, I don't care if somebody wants to like get a pair of tits and like fucking, I don't care. He was like, it's fucking disgusting is what it is. And I was like, okay, whatever. Sorry, John Helicopter. And I like walked away. And like at the whole mic, he's just like sitting at the bar, just mugging me, dude. This is a grown man. I was 21 years old, 21.
Yeah.
This guy's like, like fully grown man. Like
this guy's twice your age, seething.
Yes, yeah. And he's mad at a guy who like, has to go take algebra tests tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And anyway, like at the end of the mic, like he like we were all sitting out again or whatever, and he like came with me. He was like, just want to let you know, man, really pissed me off back there. But I kind of see what you're saying. Like he didn't come around.
Oh, okay.
That's the he was
that's
like
the first step.
Yeah. He was like, I kind of like, look, man, like I just want to say like I was pretty pissed off, but like sorry for like basically threatening me, man. Like, we're all chilling, man. I was a little too drunk, but I see what you mean. And I was like, oh, like, cool, man. Like, it's all good. Like, no harm done, man.
You were doing cocaine with this guy?
I was doing cocaine in the general vicinity of, yes.
But he wasn't. Okay.
We weren't sharing a bag, but he was also doing coke. Yeah.
That seems so fucking like, that seems rough.
Yeah, it's always a vibe killer when you're doing blow with somebody and they become immediately violent, or the potential of it, the potential for violence or whatever. Yeah. Anyway, shouts out to that guy. I hope he's doing good. I hope he transitioned to a fucking, like Nighthawk or whatever the fuck, he was trying
he did the helicopter thing. You said it.
Yeah. He's got a rotor blade or whatever the fuck. I hope he's doing good. Yeah, I love that one. That one's fun.
I actually wrote that joke. I really regret it now. I was only like 9 when I wrote it, and I thought it was fucking killer, and then it just really took off, and a lot of my views have changed since then.
I don't use Twitter anymore. I don't tweet anymore. I just haven't. I just don't like it. I just don't like to do that anymore. Right, but I still I check in.
Yeah.
And people were real mad about the. I was taken aback by how mad people were about the Thomas Stephen Hawking tweet.
Dude, that was a saga.
I thought I remember seeing it and laughing. Mm-hmm. And then I checked in like 2 hours later. Yeah. And people were freaking out.
People were replying to our podcast clips like, Dude, you guys need to eat poison like now.
Well, it was funny because I saw there was some negative reaction, but I thought, you know what, let's just not worry about it. And then I went to work and I didn't check my phone till lunchtime.
Yeah. And
I checked and I had like 3,000 death threats like since breakfast, and I was like, well, that's definitely not the direction I thought that was going to go in. Generally when people get mad online, it's like, all right, you know what, literally give it 2 hours and nobody's going to give a fuck. Right.
But
that was a little different.
At some point, once
it literally just dies down.
It's funny how when it's like, I feel like if it's that many, you're like, well, it feels like zero. At some point, it feels like zero.
Diminished returns. Yeah.
Because it's funny because, if 250,000 people are mad at me and none of them are my friends, I know I did something good.
Yeah.
Now, if 5 people are mad at me and they're all my friends, I know I did something really bad.
Yeah.
But if it's only 17-year-old girls, I either did the worst thing in the world or nothing at all.
I don't know if I
don't
know if I told you, Thomas, but my brother, did I tell you, like, he was laughing at his phone and his girlfriend was like, what are you laughing at? And he was like, oh, it's just a tweet. She was like, I want to see you. Let me see you. I want to laugh, And he showed her the post, and she became very angry and was like, is this your brother's podcast host? And he was like, yeah, that's him. And she was like, the stuff that you listen to and find funny is just like, he was telling me that she was like, she was like, what about this is funny to you? And Jaden was like, like, he's in a wheelchair. How would he fuck anybody? Just like he's like actively making it worse, like trying to explain it or whatever. But yeah.
No, it was always funny, like back in my brief periods back in the day of like being on dating apps, because sometimes this only happened a couple times, but one time I'd only been talking to a girl for like 2 hours, and then she just searched women on my she searched my at and women on Twitter and sent me one from like 2 weeks prior.
I think Thomas
that was
frozen
just like cool. It was just like, just gave all the girls on here breast cancer. Hope y'all die quick as fuck. And and she was like, do you mind explaining why this isn't misogynistic? And I was like, well, I didn't actually give anybody breast cancer. I don't know how to do that. But yeah, it was sometimes you have moments where you're like,
oh, there he goes.
Am I living right? Am I living wrong? But it's okay. Sorry if my Wi-Fi went out briefly, but it's okay.
It's okay.
I was talking and I filled in the space, so it's all right.
Yeah, that stuff. That kind of segues into something, Brandon, I wanted to ask you about, and if it's something that like you don't want to cover, I understand, because I know that the third party is a rather big name now. But I wanted your side.
Are you talking? Go ahead.
Oh, type 1 diabetes?
Yeah.
I'm just kidding, but I did look it up. Brandon does have diabetes.
It's true.
I wanted to ask your side of the story on the Matt Rife street fight saga.
Oh, the 2016 Matt Rife stuff, which is it's so funny that he is the cultural figure that he is now. And there is I'm sure you guys saw the new thing today.
No, I didn't actually. No.
Yes.
Wait.
Yes, I
you did?
The video? Yeah.
Holy shit.
I saw it. Jake, it's good. Brandon, you explain.
Well, I guess he's trending again. A guy said that like 2 Hollywood executives tried to make him and Matt Rife suck dick.
Who and Matt Rife?
Some former comic, I guess.
Okay.
Some TikTok guy who's like he's like always trying to go viral. I think it's made up, but
it might be made up.
I think it's made up, but I will be enjoying the story regardless.
Okay.
And also at the end of he's like, one of us left that room a man, and the other was already sucking dick when I left. And then at the end of the video, he's like, and by the way, it was Matt Rife. That's who I'm talking about. Like at the end, like it leaves no mystery. He's like, one of us still has his dignity. The other is Matt Rife, a very popular comedian.
He's got.
Like if that's not
DSLs,
true,
he's got to put them to use. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the 2016 thing, which it's funny that's like, all I want to say about that is there was I got like a couple messages a couple months ago from strangers, message requests from like Matt Rife fans who years later were like, "Wow, I can't believe you tried to cancel Matt Rife." And which is not what happened at all. What happened is in 2016, and I was like, I was like 23, and I would like tweet like 20 times a day.
Yeah.
You know, whatever. I had posted a couple of photos of Matt Rife's Instagram where it's like he would use a bunch of hashtags like, you know, like hashtag Hollywood, like just a boy in a dream, whatever.
Yeah,
like,
yes, yeah.
It's very like self-serious, like kissy, like selfies.
Duck face, and he's like shirtless in the car or something.
Yeah. And
hashtag just a black man trying to make it.
Yeah, I really like your that video that you made. Also, by the way, Thomas.
Oh, thank you.
That I really love that. But I had at that time, I was just sort of I would just say whatever.
Right.
And
Yeah,
so at the time I was like, haha, like this guy's a comedian. LOL, you know, whatever. This guy's a stand-up comedian.
Yeah,
and then Matt was like, I heard Brandon Wardell has a problem. Like, you know, come fight me at North Hollywood Park at 7 p.m. And I was like, I don't want to do that. I want to kiss you, you know, whatever.
Yeah,
and I'm like, just like tweeting about how I'm like, you're a hot guy, whatever. I want to
have sex with you.
I was like Bugs Bunnying. You know?
Yeah.
And then it was a lot of back. He went to the park that I had never agreed to, and it was like posting photos of him at an empty park. Like, yeah, I guess Brandon Wardell doesn't want to fight. And then the next day, people just started searching the N-word on his account, and were like, Matt Rife said the N-word, you know, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
He was like 13. This was not. I did not participate in.
He was 13.
Yeah, when he was like, tweeting the N. No, not when this happened.
Oh, I was like, bro.
They're pulling up like old. They're pulling up like old tweets.
Drake lyrics of like, betters with no money act like money. Yeah.
So, whatever. Like, I was not. I had just been like, haha, look, these photos are fucking gay. This guy, look at this guy.
Yeah.
You know,
homo.
And and you know, I wasn't saying that. But,
no, I'm fucking.
Yeah, I know.
Jake,
but
what the fuck?
Come on, man. But so I had done that, right? And then years later, there's some like Nicki Swift, like Matt Rife video, whatever, like some YouTube thing, where they say that they're like, years ago, Brandon Wardell tried to hold Matt Rife accountable. And I was like, that's not what happened. That's not what happened. I wasn't holding anyone accountable for anything. I would never do that. That's never my MO. And also, like, I will say, like, it's obviously not, his thing. What he does is it's not my thing. But I met the guy.
Yeah.
I met the guy after this all happened, and we talked about it. Like, and we there was like a day. There was like a day where it was like the Obama beer summit.
Yeah.
Right, where it was like where there's a day where I broke bread.
Yeah.
With Matt Rife. I was like, I don't know. I just
you shot dice with him.
We were at the cookout.
Yeah, chopping it up.
And yeah. So yeah, there was just like a day that I met him, and I was like, yeah, man, I was just making fun of these gay selfies, man. And he was like, oh, okay, yeah, I don't want to. I don't. He did say like, oh, like I had some of my boys wanted to like do something, and I told them to stand. Like he was like, he did imply that he almost had me jumped.
Wait, what?
But yeah, and he was like, I told him to stand.
He was gonna have the Diddy squad on you.
Yeah, but
he hold on. he tried to he implied that he was gonna get you like he had shooters involved, like not.
He said that there were. He said that there were shooters that he told to stand down.
That is
he had
so
the booty.
awesome.
He had the booty goons at the go.
The booty squad. What's the what's the Boosie tweet? What did he say?
He was like hashtag boss call would have been made.
Yeah.
But he said that the boss call could have been made, but then he was also like the squashing beef day. He was like, like we shouldn't be beefing, man. Like we should be like working together. We should make something. And I was like, well, maybe let's split the difference here. And let's just But like I was always just sort of like, that was like a funny day on Twitter, and that was a funny whatever. And people were at the time like, damn, you fucking. Like people
you dunked
very,
on
like,
his ass.
You won. You sir won the internet. And then he proceeded to become the most famous comedian.
Yeah.
He proceeded to become the most famous comedian. As I play, 100 to 300 cap venues.
Yeah.
But that's fine. That's fine.
Well,
but it is funny. It is funny. It is something that like I remember like talking to one of my agents that was like, "Oh, you gotta start posting videos. You gotta, comics are doing the Rife model right now. Comics are doing the Matt Rife model."
Yeah, I've heard.
And it's
yeah.
And hearing that hurts in a very specific way for me.
Yeah.
Like having that follow me.
Yeah, that's
Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I remember,
But it is yeah.
I remember seeing like the screenshots of it, and I was like, because here's the thing, I want
to show you a message that I got, by the way, from this one guy.
Okay,
but,
yeah.
Go on.
I was gonna say do you know Devin from Hate Watch? Devin Costa. He's also like in.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. Devin's great.
Devin,
I
love Devin.
He had this sketch. It was called like the cool comic or like the cool like LA. So he was like on a green screen of a comedy stage, and he was wearing like a hoodie, and he was like, like the white cool guy comedian with like the foam posits, like the Jordans on, and he was like doing this thing where he was like, like fucking back in the proj.
Oh yeah, it's a funny video.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah, I won't do his thing, but I remember seeing that, and I was like, oh, I'm not alone. I have met so many like guys who make being like a wigger like that's their stage guy, and sometimes they end up doing pretty well, but like I always found them really grating. And literally like 3 months later, he's the biggest guy in the world. Him and Andrew Schultz both do it. And nothing against them. I just like I didn't know there was like such a.
I got something against them. I don't think they're that funny.
I don't think they're that funny either. I just mean like personally they could be nice guys.
Player hater over
yeah,
here.
I know people that know that. I'm sure they're fine. But like
preying on their downfall.
Yeah, I would kill a dog to have 1/10 of the success of Andrew Schultz. But I remember.
You think he hasn't?
Yeah. No, he's big time Hollywood now. He had to do the deed.
He had to wear the dress.
Yeah. I remember thinking like, oh, the world really does crave like a swagged up, cool white boy with a little bit of with a little tint.
Yeah.
Like Elvis rocked it back in the 40s. He was like, I'm a white boy and I can shake my ass, and they're like, we love it. You're gonna be the king of rock.
Yeah.
And so when I saw like that style of comedian like becoming big, there was a little part of me in my head that was like, dude, you got a podcast, bro. You're doing pretty well. What if you shifted your whole personality?
What if you put some flavor on it?
Yeah. What if I put like some high top Velcro basketball shoes on and started doing mics? Like the other day, I was trying to get my fucking shit slurred down on, you feel me? And then like immediately get like 1 million views on TikTok or whatever the fuck.
It's crazy.
Like,
I would like when I was like 23, 22, I would say like fam too much and stuff like that.
Yeah, like the swag era,
And then like a couple people got mad at me, and I was like, so yeah, sorry, yeah, my bad. No,
won't do it again.
I'll never do it again. Fast forward, Wiggers are
They're back, dude.
in.
They're
They're
back.
in.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
on.
Yeah.
You know, it's yeah, I don't know. I did want to, before I leave, I wanted to show you this Matt Rife fan DM that I got.
Yes, I'd love to see it.
This is because this was like, it was something that it was like, oh yeah, it was something that it was really at the time, right? People were like, I remember Kumail Nanjiani tweeting at me being like literally being like, oh, you won the internet, and like blue vest D-Ray. Being like,
oh shit!
Wow,
no.
like
Doritos D-Ray.
Great work, man.
Hell yeah!
Like I met him at like the VMAs, and he was like, man, that was crazy.
That's so that's so awesome.
And you know, little did we know what was to come.
Yeah.
But years later, right? There's some video that flattens the story and says that I like tried to hold him accountable. They don't include any of this. All
The
it was
context,
is just
yeah.
me like, look at this. Oh,
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But this guy, it's an account, Green Shield Tree, right? It's like a tree, like landscaping, fucking like it's like
Thomas's
it's a
alt.
service. Yeah, and they messaged me at 4:19 a.m. and they go, "You're a fucking pussy." And what kind of fucking pussy ass comedian tries to get others canceled? You make jokes about drunk driving. Maybe karma will make some drunk drivers drive near you and your family one night, you scumbag piece of shit. Suicide is legal in Oregon, just saying. This is on his fucking business account. Because he was watching a Nicki Swift video titled The Shady Side of Matt Rife.
Yeah.
And he watched that and he got worked up.
That's so awesome.
He was like, there's no shady side of Matt Rife.
Yeah, like I think, I don't know. Fucking people get like really attached. I didn't know who he was. Sometimes people, I'm not plugged into like pop culture like very much, and so I won't know people are having like a meteoric rise until they're the biggest thing in the world. And so I remember like checking Facebook like a year ago, and fucking he was like all over the place. People that I went to high school with were like, just got tickets, you know, and again, like,
right.
Cool or whatever, but I didn't know that he was, I had no idea, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't know. And so when I saw that screenshot come back around like 6 months ago, I was like, dude, if I ever run into Brandon, I'm going to have to ask him. I got to get
what screenshot was it? Oh, just the...
It was everything.
It
was all of his
yes.
responses to you, like, I'm a North Hollywood pussy bitch, like, come get you
yes.
some, whatever. And then, like, your original post... And then all of his like old Instagram, I guess that he purged, where he would be like,
"Oh right,
like yeah." Like
I think this is resurfaced because I remember it was an old no jumper tweet. It's so funny that those are the paths that all of those people have taken.
Yeah,
Adam 22 is like he's got the show where everybody competes to fuck his wife.
Dude, did you see his manic screed thread to Aiden Ross about how like
we should have collabed on the Drake cock reaction.
Yeah, he was like, bro, I'm out here. My show about people fucking my wife's blowing up right now, and you won't show a brother no love. I was like, dude, these guys are awesome. Like,
I'm glad that I've sort of removed myself from any sort of immediate orbit. But
you'd be in there like swimwear.
I could have been in there like swimwear, man.
You could have been his best friend.
You could have had some nice allegations by now, but you chose the high road.
It's a shame.
Bro, you could have had a phone notes apology, dude. You could have fucking had it all, bro.
I could have had. I do love that the speed with which he went, like, and he's doing great. He's so rich. He's so rich.
Yeah, he is
he's
so much
famous.
Money.
He could have me killed.
Yeah, he almost did.
And he almost did.
Yeah.
But he, like, in your 20s, going on Jordan Peterson as like a canceled comedian.
Oh my god, I forgot about that.
That's like a crazy speed run.
I forgot about that. Yeah, he went on.
It's just, you know.
And Jordan was like, once you attack the wasp's nest, they won't stop buzzing until you So you give them everything you got, and you've been giving them so much, Matt. And Matt's like,
and he's doing a lot of like blank staring and like,
yes.
yeah.
And they some busy bees.
Yeah.
But I do have to. I have Dune 2 40X.
Oh no, yeah, dude.
ticks.
Hey man,
So I
buddy.
gotta dip.
Thank
in
you
a
for
second.
coming on.
Thanks.
Anything you want to plug? You got your
Just
show
come
on,
come out to a show if I'm in Seattle and New Orleans soon, and I don't probably I'm gonna film it soon. I gotta. My
special?
hand is my hand has been forced by God.
Nice.
God has been taunting me with Matt Rife is the most famous guy alive. I should make one special.
Absolutely.
But Matt Rife, if I know you're listening, it's all love. It's all love. It's all love, man. It's all love, Matt. I don't know. Listen to my podcast, the Brandon Jamel Show.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a funny podcast.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Whenever
Thanks
you're
for
in
having me, guys.
Whenever you're in Austin, let us know. Do some shows or whatever. Get like some spots and fucking grab
Absolutely.
some food. Thanks for coming on, man.
Let's do it.
All right.
Of course.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks,
we'll see
guys. See
ya.
ya.
Take care.
Bye. Oh.